I would say that there were days when, I don't know, I don't even know where to begin on this question. This is tough.
When I work out, I put my work. When I work out, I put my work in. Ready, get, go. If you wanna play ball, better give it your all. Stand tall, put your work in.
My name is Thema Williams. I'm 26 years old and I'm from Martin, Trinidad and Tobago. Right now, I am currently doing gymnastics, specifically outdoor, more fun stuff and exciting stuff. But previously, I represented Trinidad and Tobago in the sport of gymnastics internationally for 16 years of my career. Other than gymnastics, I have my own stretch classes. You can check it out on Instagram, Stretch for Stress. I'm into fashion. I also made this throwover right here. You could check it out on Instagram, Art by Thema. And I'm also a gymnastics coach. I was first introduced to sport when my brother did karate with my mom. He was the youngest black belt, I believe, in Trinidad and Tobago at 9 years old. So that was pretty amazing. And thereafter, it would have been my sister doing gymnastics where I would have been introduced to the actual sport that I got into eventually. I would say my secret to success as an athlete was particularly my resilience. Regardless of the circumstances, especially as it relates to gymnastics where perfection is what we kind of require, especially with respect to gymnastics, resilience came in very handy. A unique quality about Thema that makes her stand out would be her creativity. I feel like it's something that people always compliment me on. I always find something creative to do, always find something to make, always find something to transform. You know, I even made this cover up here, as I said before, so it's something that comes naturally to me. Some of the habits that were definitely fundamental to the sport of gymnastics and success in that particular arena would be consistency. Consistency is very important. It's not just about doing it once, but being able to do it over and over and over. You know, that kind of solidifies the perfection of the whole sport altogether. I think that sport has prepared me for a lot of circumstances in life, even though I didn't know it at the time. Persevering through hard days and generally just being in an environment where I had no choice but to be determined in order to achieve my goals kind of put me in a position or a mindset that allows me to kind of have a point of view that's very different from everybody else in the sense that I know what it takes to achieve what I want and I don't stop going for my goals. Generally, I would say my goals are to have an impact in the fashion industry, not just in Trinidad but internationally as well. I also want to help people as it relates to the health aspect of life. I think that one thing we undervalue as humans is our health, and I think that I want to make contributions to that as well in the future. In terms of how sport has affected me emotionally and psychologically, I would say that, I don't even know where to begin on this question. This is tough. I think the major effect that sport had on me emotionally and psychologically is you know, with gymnastics particularly, you become almost very robotic. I'm not a very openly emotional person, and that's because when you're in the gym, it's such a different experience. You can't break down and cry every time something goes wrong. Like, that's not what the environment is about. It's about pushing through and being determined. So I would say that my emotions kind of evolved toward that, and I'm kind of more robotic. And in terms of psychologically, I would say that gymnastics kind of taught me how to be very strong-minded, very confident, even if it was a fake it till you make it kind of scenario. But I would say psychologically and emotionally, one, I'm kind of more robotic emotionally, and two, psychologically, I'm very, very strong. Who or whom is my greatest inspiration? This question is always very difficult for me because I've found motivation from so many different people in my life at so many different points in my life, depending on how I felt at that time. In sports, I always admired Nastia Lukin. She was a gymnast from the USA. She was the Olympic champion in 2012. In terms of fashion, I have so many different inspirations. I can't even describe, I can't even begin. Because as I said, it just depends on how I feel at that time. But overall, if I had to think of somebody who's been a role model to me throughout, I would definitely say my grandmother. I would say my grandparents in general. They bring a certain class to the table that is just unmatched. And I feel like that's something that will stick with me forever. The advice that I would give to younger athletes would be, don't give up. I know it seems like sometimes that's the only option, But if you know what your goals are and you know what you want, stay on your path to success. Don't let the social norms derail you. What everybody else is doing is not important to what your goal is. So I would say stick on your path and be strong-minded in what you're doing. You have to be able to say no sometimes. You can't go to every social gathering. And you know what? Your life is not going to be normal. It's not going to be like everybody else's. So I would say stay on your path to greatness, stick with it, and you will achieve success. The best experience I've ever had in gymnastics, well, one of the best, I wouldn't say the best. Other than traveling, I felt like that was always an amazing experience to experience other cultures and be able to transform my mind. I didn't even know my mind was transforming until I realized that my perspective was completely different simply because I traveled. But this particular moment in gymnastics really transformed my life. I remember when I was doing SEA, and my mom, everybody thought my mother was crazy because she allowed me to go to a competition 2 weeks before the SEA exam. And I went, and there was this girl from Russia and this girl from France, and I looked at them and I was like, whoa, their gymnastics is like spot on. They were looking 10 out of 10, like really, really good. And I won at the end of the competition. So I felt so good at the end of that competition because my hard work paid off and my mom's crazy sacrifice paid off because at the end I was successful.
If you wanna play, gotta give it your all.